Hey everyone, George here from e-commerce mentoring, and today I want to talk to you about how to choose the right platform to advertise your products or your business. Now, this can seem like a very complicated decision because you don't know where you should angle your product, towards which audience you should angle your product. But if you think about it and if you give it a little bit of time to go through the demographics of the most popular marketing platforms, you'll be able to find the perfect fit for your product. And that's just what we're going to do in today's video. So without further ado, let's get into it. Today I want to go over the main marketing platforms that are available and that can be really useful for your store or your dropshipping business. So we're going to be talking about native ads, Snapchat ads, Pinterest ads, TikTok ads, Facebook ads, and Google ads. So we're going to go through a quick overview of each of these platforms, and I'm going to give you my insight on which platform I think is best for each type of product or for each type of business. So let's get into the computer and let's check these platforms out one by one. Now, the first one that I have here is Taboola. Taboola is native ads distribution platform. Native ads are the ads that you usually see integrated natively into other websites, usually news websites. I'm going to show you an example here. We have CNN here, and if you scroll down, here are all the news articles, so the actual news from CNN. But if you keep scrolling, you get to a section that says, where is it? Here, paid content, see? And then there's a bunch of ads that come out here. These ads, they look like, if you just give it a quick glance, they look like they're also articles by CNN, but they're really not. They're actually ads. These are what you call native ads. And to do native advertising, you have to use a platform like Taboola. One thing to keep in mind though, if you want to use native ads, remember that people that are going to be clicking your ads are coming from news websites. So they're looking for actual content. And if you're doing native ads, you need to make sure that your landing page has the content and it's just not a sales page, you know? Because if it's a sales page, there's going to be a low chance of success with your native ads. You want to make sure that your page that you use for native ads has a lot of information, a lot of content, and is not just something that is meant to sell the product directly. Because remember, if you're advertising on Facebook, for example, you're advertising the product directly. So people will know that when they click, they're going to go to your website and they're going to be looking for a sales pitch, essentially. When people come from a native ad, they're not ready for a sales pitch. They're looking for some sort of informational post. And if you look at it, look at this. This Japanese method sucks all toxins out of the body, you know? It doesn't look like you're selling the product directly. It looks like an article for this Japanese method, but not necessarily a product. We know, because we know what native ads are, that if we click this, we're going to see a product. So let's just click it and we'll see what happens. See, there you go. There is an informational page talking about the method. And now I've actually seen this product before, and now they start to introduce the product, and at the bottom there's going to be a way to buy the product, of course. So this is the type of funnel that you usually see with native ads, and they work very well if your product can be sold with an angle like this one, so an informational kind of advertorial angle. Now, next one up on the list is TikTok. So TikTok ads, when should you use TikTok ads? Well, going into these next platforms that we have to discuss here, TikTok, Google, Snapchat, Pinterest, Facebook, it's all about the demographic. It's all about who you're advertising to. So that's what you need to check before you decide to use TikTok. Now, I have a page here with the TikTok demographics right now, and this is what you can see in terms of the people that are using TikTok right now. So most people are 10 to 19 years old, then 20 to 29, then 30 to 39, then 40 to 49, and then 50 plus. So just up to 30, you have more than 60% of TikTok users. 60%. More than 60% of TikTok users are under 30 years old. Now, bear in mind that in this category here, 10 to 19, a lot of them are not even going to be potential buyers because they don't have money, because they just don't buy online, right? So you need to keep that in mind. you need to keep in mind that the demographic that you're going to be targeting on TikTok is going to be in their 20s, in their 30s mostly. If your product is aimed at this specific demographic, then by all means go and advertise it on TikTok. But if you're selling, for example, a product that is supposed to be, let's say, an orthopedic device for seniors, then TikTok is not the way to go. Now, Google, on the other hand, Google doesn't even have a specific demographic. That's the good thing about Google. Google is everyone, because if you think about it, who uses Google? Everyone. So that's one of the big pluses of using Google. It's that you can advertise to literally anyone. But Google does not work like Facebook or TikTok or Snapchat or Pinterest. These four are pretty much copies of each other, or rather copies from Facebook. But Google is not. Google operates in a very, very different way. First off, Google has many types of ads. You have YouTube ads, you have search ads, you have shopping ads, and they're all completely different and they work in completely different ways. And usually when you talk about Google ads, you talk about search ads or shopping ads. And when you talk about YouTube ads, you talk about YouTube ads. So in terms of search ads, they're targeted by keywords. This means that Google products are very specific. Google products need to address something that people are searching for, because that's what makes a product successful in general terms with Google search ads. Of course, there's also Google shopping ads, and Google shopping ads have two different categories: smart shopping and regular shopping ads. One is more manual, the other one is more automatic, and they do work very well. But just bear in mind that if you're going into Google, you need to study the platform really well, really in depth, because it works in a very different way when you compare it to Facebook or TikTok. Now, a quick mention to Facebook. Of course, we had to give Facebook a quick mention. Facebook started it all from a lot of the other platforms. If you think about TikTok or Pinterest, they all copy the model that Facebook was using. But Facebook users tend to be a little bit older than the users that are now on TikTok, for example. If we have a look here at the Facebook demographics from July 2021, we can see that the peak comes from 18 to 44. And we can also see that the younger demographic is pretty much non-existent, whereas the older demographic is quite significant. So if your product is more aimed towards an older audience, usually Facebook is the way to go. Also, Facebook has a big advantage, and that's why I always recommend starting with Facebook as a beginner, because Facebook does not rely on native content as much. When I say native content, I mean user-generated content that looks like it's posted by an actual person and is not an ad. If you post an ad on TikTok, it's very likely that it's going to be terrible and it's not going to work. Same for Snapchat. But Facebook, because the platform was not designed with such an intricate connection with user-generated content as, for example, TikTok, you can get away and be very successful with Facebook using a typical ad format and not necessarily user-generated content. Now for Snapchat ads. When should you use Snapchat ads? Well, let's have a look at the demographics. 58% of the Snapchat users are female and 41% are male. A lot of these platforms that we've seen so far have a very equal distribution. The exception is going to be Pinterest, which is mostly female. You can see there's a lot of users in Europe, and you can see that 69% of the US teens say they use Snapchat. So again, we have a very, very young demographic. So if you have a product that is more geared towards the younger audience, like students, college students, people who are generally under their 30s, Snapchat is also a good option. Now, like TikTok, Snapchat relies a lot on user-generated content. So if you take your Facebook ads and you put them on Snapchat, on TikTok, it's probably not going to work very well. And last but not least, we have Pinterest. Now, Pinterest is a very particular type of social media. Pinterest, if we look at the demographics here, like I was saying just before, 77% of Pinterest users are female. Only 14.5% are male. It's not a young demographic either. Only 32% of Pinterest users are between 18 and 29. 34 are between 30 and 49. And 38 are between 50 and 64. So if you look at these numbers, you immediately understand that Pinterest actually has the oldest demographic of all the platforms that we saw, and it's heavily female. Now, Pinterest works with a different type of content, and if you want to advertise on Pinterest, you should definitely browse around Pinterest to get a feeling of how it works, because it's not the same kind of content as you have on TikTok, and it's not the same kind of content that you have on Facebook. It has its own particular type of content. In terms of the strategies that you use on Pinterest, Pinterest can be used with both interest targeting and keyword targeting. So if you're coming from Facebook, you can definitely get away and be successful successful with just the interest targeting strategies that you have from Facebook. And that's it for today's video, guys. I hope this was useful. I hope that you understood that before you choose your marketing platform, you should look at your customer avatar, so who your buyers are, where they're coming from, what their ages are, and then look at the demographics for each particular marketing platform, and you will see where your product fits the best. Of course, you can always use a multi-platform approach, and I definitely recommend that you do, but you should always first start with whatever is more suited towards your product and then test the other platforms when you're already scaling, when you're already profitable with your core audience. Thank you for watching, and if you need any help with your store or your online business, just let us know at ecommercementoring.com and we'll be more than happy to assist you. Bye.